What's wrong with you, Tony? You look visibly frustrated.
It's these headphones. They sound terrible, and I wasted half my paycheck on them.
Oh, that's too bad. You should have gone over to Mass Drop and got the new Sennheiser HD6XX headphones.
Sennheiser HD6XX headphones? What do you want me to do, spend the other half of my paycheck?
Actually, the new Sennheiser HD6XX headphones are only $199.99 with the ideal amount of bass, treble, and sound mixing. They're like buying $500 headphones at a fraction of the price, but all the quality. More than 50,000 units have been sold already, and they constantly sell out. This headset is the ideal solution for anyone looking to experience high-end sound for an affordable price.
Wow, James, these headphones seem awesome. Can I borrow them?
No, my brother, you gotta get your own. Yeah. Get your Sennheiser HD6XX headphones today. Click the link in the description and experience high-end sound at an affordable price.
Come on down to Cinemassacre Video, where selection is the name of the game. We got comedy, drama, action, horror, movies for kids, movies for mom and dad. Cinemassacre Video in the Voorhees Memorial Shopping Center next to Caldor.
Where's James?
I think he got pinched. Oh, they're gone. Okay, all right, let's do this. All right,
We got another one for the shelves.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we finally got, kicked out of a movie theater while filming, and now we're hiding in the maintenance area.
Yeah.
Hopefully
As
they
you
won't
do.
mind that whoever rents this, that the other half of the movie is just us running for our lives and people screaming at us.
Well, that movie was awesome.
Yeah.
It was totally awesome. So first of all, I want to say that the movie came out on Thanksgiving or a couple days before, and Thanksgiving's a holiday that's all about eating and stuffing your face with turkey and mashed potatoes and gravy.
Yeah.
And then you watch this movie that's all about working out and getting in shape. And it's like, what are you trying to do?
Plus, like, everybody's in
Stallone?
insane shape in this
Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
ridiculous shape, and I'm like,
I was talking, I've been lifting a little bit. I've been feeling good about myself, but then I saw this movie, I'm like, oh fuck, I got so much more to go. Like, I'm not even anywhere near these guys level.
And even though I don't look like it, I was working out for a bit too, and I was doing flipping the tire and all that CrossFit shit. And clearly nothing happened out of it. I should go back and do that again.
Although, strangely, Rocky always is sort of a Thanksgiving kind of franchise. Because, the first movie, there's a scene on Thanksgiving. Paulie throws the turkey in the alley. And it kind of has a sort of a theme of family. These movies make you appreciate what's most important, your family and friends. And that's what Thanksgiving's about, more than the food, of course. And I want to say, this is my favorite film franchise by far, and it just never lets me down. I mean, in terms of volume, I'm not talking about my favorite single movie that exists in a franchise, like King Kong. Nothing comes close to the original, but the Rocky movies have all been really consistent. I mean, look, we all know 5 was most people would agree, not the best, but even 5 redeems itself with the street fight. So I don't feel like every one of these movies gets me excited. I feel something with every one of them.
I'm probably going to get crucified for this, but I really don't like Rocky 4. I like it as a joke. I like it as it's funny. I like the soundtrack, but it's such a cartoon compared to the other ones. I will say this, though. This movie made me appreciate it a little bit more, because that movie helps this movie's story. So...
Yeah, because now it's good you bring that up, because Rocky 4 is probably the most tonally disconnected from this. Rocky Balboa, Rocky 6, and Creed and Creed 2 are kind of like a trilogy right now.
A little bit, yeah.
Who knows, there might actually be a Creed trilogy if they continue. But these movies sort of picked it up in a new way. They kind of made it a lot more grounded and realistic. Rocky 4 is so exaggerated and over the top that it made me really interested to see where's this going to go, because
Rocky 4 had to beat Rocky 3, which had Thunder Lips and Mr. T, and it was crazy.
Hulk Hogan was in that.
And I love Rocky 4, by the way. I love all of them, but the thing is, it just made me wonder, how are they going to do this, because these movies are so tonally different than those. So to see this be such a big part, because this is it's not only a solid sequel to Rocky to Creed 2, it's also a legitimate follow-up to Rocky 4.
Yeah.
And the character Ivan Drago, who I thought maybe he's going to be a cameo or a smaller part.
Oh, it's the whole movie.
He is a supporting character in this movie. It shows you like what he's going through on his side.
Yeah, and he's a better actor these days than he was back then. Like
so Stallone. Stallone was incredible.
Oh yeah,
I think like he was great in this movie.
But, like Dolph Lundgren specifically, like he still acts like he was on Arrow a few seasons ago. He still kicks ass. He can still do a great action scene. So it was nice to see him return to that character with like actual acting chops.
Yeah.
Whereas 4, he's just like, I will break you. He's basically a robot.
He's a little bit robotic.
Yeah.
But this time it makes total sense that.
Well, because Rocky IV was very much like us versus them, U.S. versus Russia. You know, like kind of like doing it yourself and nitty gritty versus like the science and technology and like the doping and all that kind of stuff. And Rocky VIII, Creed II kind of does the same thing where, you know, Drago's son is training in the Ukraine and he's doing it like, you know, very off script.
Yeah.
And Creed is now, Adonis Creed is now in the facilities and he's the top of the, you know, he's pretty much Apollo Creed now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, halfway through the movie, they flip the script and now he has to do it the old-fashioned way. So it's very interesting. It's like
we don't want to go into spoilers.
Yeah. Oh
yeah. Go ahead.
It just feels like Rocky IV told two different ways in the same movie.
And there's also a difference between like Ivan Drago and Rocky IV was just a bad guy. There was no, you just wanted to see him lose. He was hated. But Victor Drago is not. You feel bad for him because this entire time he grows up, he works in like a. Like a warehouse or something. Ivan Drago's giving him shit constantly. Like, even in the fights, he's giving him shit. Like, he's never... his mom isn't there. Certain things,
well,
like...
that's... Now, not until... Look, we already hit in the spoiler territory.
Well, that's not, I don't think, like, a huge spoiler. They mention it, like, right in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, they mentioned that she left. Apparently Drago's, like,
and we're talking about
ruined.
the same actress from Rocky IV.
Yeah, Bridget Nielsen, who used to be married to Stallone, so that might have been awkward. I don't know if they were on set the same day. I don't know if they had a bad breakup, but yeah.
I mean, the thing is, though, it's like, you want to see Creed win, but you're also kind of like, Victor Drago also does deserve to win. He wasn't also doing the roiding like Ivan was when they were shooting him up and everything. This was like, he is just a beast. Like, Victor Drago is no joke in this movie.
I mean, I was totally frightened still. Like, to see, I never thought that this would happen. Over 30 years, we would see Ivan Drago again in a movie, and he's still terrifying. But it does show you what's going on his side too.
Well, I guess if we back up, can we talk about Creed 1 for a second?
Yeah.
Because Creed 1 came out many years after Rocky Balboa, and they were trying to like a soft, like this is how you soft reboot a franchise.
Creed, I think, was the best passing of the torch movie I've ever seen.
Oh, it was
I actually haven't seen it
really?
yet. I haven't seen Rocky 5, 6, or Creed 1.
Oh.
I've only seen Rocky 1 through 4 and this. But
so this would be a confusing sequel to Rocky 4 for you?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, that's the thing, like, going from, certain things, like, I know they touched in the last one, but, like, Adrian's gone, like, I was just like, wow, this is, it's a really, I have to go back and watch the other ones. Like, I got to do that. And now I'm more excited too, because I love this movie.
Creed 1 had some interesting stuff going on, where great cinematography, great choreography. I like the part, pretty much, like Rocky's son, Robert, kind of sucks. So I'm glad they found, Creed's son. Because, I would have hated if it was, like, another Rocky 5 type situation.
Yeah.
Well, that's strange how many times, like, what I'm just so impressed by is how, I mean, first of all, they take something that's so totally different and make it work and be believable today, but also, like, how they don't ignore things from the other movies. They use the same characters again. They use the exact same, like, formula, like, because these movies do repeat themselves a lot. Like, we know the plots are all very similar.
This one felt a little bit like Rocky 3 with the whole,
I mean, we won't get into it, but there are elements of Rocky 3 as well as Rocky 4, and they kind of, because I think what got you, what you said that got me on this tangent was when you mentioned Rocky 5, how it seemed like, oh, well, he's going to train somebody again, and we already saw that didn't really work so well.
Yeah.
Creed kind of does what Rocky 5 tried to do, but does it really well.
Like, way better,
yeah.
Speaking of Rocky 5, I don't know if you brought it up in a video or AVGen or something before or whatever, but in the PS2 game in the Rocky 5 street fight stage. So it's a street fight, right? And you're fighting Tommy Gunn, but because of like the coding, there's black rope. Like in the ring,
so you can't like just go.
So I thought that was funny because I love if in Rocky 5 they had the rope.
Yeah, you could also fight as Mickey, and you can fight as the Rocky statue.
What I like is if you fight as Mickey in that game, and then you're fighting Rocky, Mickey's in Rocky's corner, cheering Rocky on to beat the shit out of himself.
Well, that's funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. But anyway, the point about that was like reusing the old things is that the Rocky franchise keeps learning from itself. It keeps this is one of few franchises that actually kind of knows what it tried to do before and what didn't work about it, and then tries it again and does it better.
Yeah.
So I think it's really an evolving.
I mean, Rocky 4. You know, if Creed 2 is a sequel, Rocky 4 is super clunky. It's like 4 really good montages that tell you a lot of exposition in the montage.
But the montages are great.
They are great, yeah.
I love the one montage that flashes back to the third movie's montage. It's like, there's too many montages.
Oh.
Yeah. and with what Creed 1 did is, and instead of doing a lot of like heavy montages, like when they do exposition, they use like HBO Sports as a framing device, and they do little documentaries in Creed 1 and Creed 2.
Yeah, I like that.
It's really cohesive.
Yeah. I love the way they did that, because it makes you feel like you're really about to, like you're there watching, like, oh man, the Creed and
especially
Drago
Rocky 6 Balboa. That one, it does it straight up like you're watching an HBO fight, and then it shifts into like, you know, montage territory. But Michael Buffer is the announcer in all 3 of these, and in Rocky Balboa, Creed and Creed 2. So it's pretty awesome to see that Michael Buffer is now a main character. You know? He's a recurring.
A bunch of those guys are actually like the dude who was in Rocky's corner, who was in the black shirt. He was an old UFC cut doctor. Like he's an actual, like he would go and like whenever they had cuts, he would go put the Vaseline on them and everything like that.
Speaking of UFC, I'm really surprised these the Creed movies aren't about UFC, and they actually did solid boxing.
Yeah.
Especially the first one, which it's clearly like him versus like Conor McGregor, basically, like that character.
It's almost exactly McGregor.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. Like, so if they ever do a Creed 3, I feel like maybe he'll like transition into UFC, and then Rocky can't. Train him.
Yeah, that's the only problem. You can't really have Rocky as the Mickey character if you do that.
Yeah,
because he doesn't know anything about UFC.
Well, the other thing is Rocky technically has to. Like, I mean, not spoilers or anything, but Rocky has to die in Creed 3 to keep the
keep the Mickey.
No, because think about it. In Rocky 3, Mickey, looking at their ages and all that kind of stuff, he's 75 years old. Mm-hmm. Stallone, right today, is 72. Mm-hmm. So theoretically, he should die in the next one.
But then again, I think these Creed films are showing that Rocky doesn't want to be like Mickey, because Mickey grew up like alone. He was this bitter old man. And Rocky's kind of like in that, like he's almost becoming that.
Well, much like Rocky is learning from Mickey, the movies are learning from the old films.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of what's going on.
Well, that's the thing, like they do things similar, but they do it differently in their own way. And it's honestly like, I think this might be right now my favorite one in the series. It used to be, I would say Rocky 1 was my favorite one, and then probably 3 after that. But I think like this one, man, it was such a good movie. Like, the entire time, like you know, especially going into it, you don't need to.
So you're saying better than the original?
Honestly, I mean, I don't want to like put myself out there, I guess, like that. But I think that this one was the best one I've watched.
It's a good contender.
It's just really good.
Clearly,
it's a really good film.
It's the most modern and most contemporary, and one of the best executed, just with like how it looks and how it like it's Creed 2 is very solid filmmaking wise. It's directed very well. It
by like
awesome.
A relative newcomer. Like we looked at IMDb, it's all like independent films.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah.
Boom, gave him this, which is usually how they how it's done these days.
Because the first Creed was directed by the guy who did Black Panther.
Coogler, and he like produced. I think he helped write this. He definitely produced this one.
And I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure the guy who directed Creed 2 was shadowing him before. Like I know something was going on.
Okay.
So I'm glad it all worked out. But like I don't know if they're going to switch up directors again. And I honestly did Stallone direct all the Rocky films? Or
he did
all of them except one was John G. Avildsen.
Okay.
He directed 1 and 5. So
and the rest was Stallone.
The rest was Stallone, even Rocky Balboa. But what happened here was that because he was ready to just hang it up after Rocky Balboa, that was the last one. And well, I mean, all of them were kind of meant to be the last one, but this was like really going to be the last one. And then I think Ryan Coogler stepped in and was like, hey, I got this great idea. So basically Stallone is now just all ears and like, hey, what do you have? He wants a newcomer to come in and breathe fresh new life into the franchise. Like unlike somebody like George Lucas, who, you know, it's kind of tougher. He finally did. I mean, he sold it all away, you know. But you know, for a while it seemed like he was going to always have his hands on it and was never going to let go. So it was kind of a good idea on Stallone's part to give it to fresh new talent. And
I really like how this series is like, you know, developing its own lore, its own like mythology. So I love what they're doing with the Tessa Thompson character, with like her being deaf. Because that's building up to like. I'm sure the third one's going to be about how like she can't continue music because she can't hear. Meanwhile,
and we're talking about it like there's going to be a third one because they're so good. It's like,
I want to see what happens. I really want to see what happens with the whole hearing loss thing.
Even Creed was perfect the way it ended up. Like that, they passed the torch. Now they could do whatever, but now it's still good.
It's great because Adrian didn't have much of an arc aside from being I'm nerdy and now I'm in the pet store and now I'm Rocky's wife, blah 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 blah. Her arc kind of sucked, whereas in the new one, Mrs. Creed, Bianca.
Who I'm in love with.
She was great in Thor Ragnarok. She's going to be in the new Men in Black.
In the first one, she's living in like a dingy apartment, I guess, in Philly, and she's singing at Johnny Brenda's. And she's doing the whole John thing, and she's singing. And now she's at the Fillmore, which is actually 2 blocks away from Johnny Brenda's.
Which is right by Barcade.
Don't forget the Electric Factory. She also did. You know.
Which is a huge venue, and she went from this like kind of weird whatever singer, and now she's singing kind of like, you know, like modern day people like Grimes or Minsky and stuff like that. Like it's more like her music has evolved, even though she's going deaf. It's very interesting.
That's one thing I want to bring up is because I live in the Northeast Philly area, so seeing most of the places in this movie, I know exactly where it was.
Oh, and all of them do that too. They use real Philly locations. And these past 3 movies have used a lot
even
of
in the
same,
first movie, like seeing the L and like him running under the L and going to
Which wasn't Lloyd Kaufman responsible for a lot of the Philly shoots? Like, he helped organize
he scouted a lot of them. Like he was also the guy who he picks up and takes him to the bar. Like
But the one thing I want to say is the Delphi gym that's supposed to be in L.A. That's not in L.A. That's on Aramingo Avenue.
That's what I thought. It's next to the Petco.
There's a Petco. Like if you go on what's it called? If you go on Google Maps right now and you put in 3300 Aramingo Avenue and you point it like facing down Aramingo, you'll get the same exact shot that they have where Creed's pulling his car in and parking. There's a Petco. It's a 7-Eleven on Google Maps, but I don't even think it's that anymore. It used to be, before they were filming this, a Blockbuster.
So instead of walking into like, you know, it's like get in shape, you're walking in like
that's the thing. Like now it's a 7-Eleven, but I remember actually when we were coming back from MagFest, the year where I had the accident, we were driving in, and all the film crews were out in that parking lot when we were getting into town, and they were filming like the Delphi scenes, like in the first movie there.
Those scenes really do stand, because they don't look like LA at all. Just because we grew up around there, I'm like, that's not LA.
When I saw it, I was like, oh wait, that's not LA. Well, that's like, I was like, I know where this is.
Well, they do the reversal a lot in some of the old movies. There's LA locations that are meant to be Philly. So. But I mean, the only movie that didn't use Philly as a primary backdrop was Rocky 4, actually.
Where does he live in Rocky 3 and 4? Does he
He's probably in LA. I think so.
Is he? Okay.
Because Rocky 4 is the only one where they don't use the steps ever. They never go to the art museum, and they don't use any of the music. I mean, they use all new music, which is great.
It was good. It was good music in the 4th one.
But I am happy to see like these movies. They use a lot of new music, but they also go back to the old one. Well, even 4, it had musical nods to.
This one had, they used the Rocky theme very sparingly.
It was used
when it hit, you were like, like it was a good.
That's how you use it.
The movie too was like the whole time I'm like pumped, like every single fight, like and you feel like with the characters, like I don't know, this was such a good movie.
It also helps because they have sometimes they switch to first person perspective, and you feel like you took the punch, and then it like whip pans to the ground.
Oh, they always they always use new techniques in the fight. Like I never seen it where like the boxer's actually punching the camera. I think they might have used it on the Will Smith Muhammad Ali movie.
I never saw that one.
Yeah, I think they
Ali,
put
yeah.
where they basically like put something around the camera, I think, and then they actually like throw like real punches at the camera.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean the emotional, the physical and emotional trauma of what he goes through in this is really intense. Like this is probably the most brutal that they've ever shown it.
Like not. I mean, it gets into spoilers a little bit, but we'll
get into them later.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a light spoiler, I guess. Not really, but in Creed 1, Creed says, "Oh, you haven't hey Rocky, you haven't talked to my mom, Creed's wife in forever." Which is kind of rude that after the funeral he just never talks to her again, and then goes on to beat Drago. He didn't call her I got him for you, I got him, and Russia dismantled themselves. It's we can be friends. You can and then in Creed 2, you never see a really good scene. Well, I don't think it's really a spoiler between him and Creed's wife, who they recasted for some reason.
Yeah, who is she in the new one?
I don't know.
She was played by 3 different actors. So the first movie you only see her briefly in one scene on the TV,
along with Creed's 2 kids who are gone. Yeah. We don't know where. Yeah. Creed has a son and daughter.
I know.
Way older. We don't know where they are.
And then the second actor began in Rocky 2. And then she's the one in Rocky 4 who's there and witnesses him die.
And she's like, oh!
And then beginning with Creed, it's somebody new.
Yeah. It's the mom. It's the mom from the Cosby Show, right?
Is that who it is? Is that why it's
the other one was? She actually died before Creed came out.
Oh.
So obviously they'd have to recast.
Right.
They're similar in age. I think this one's a little younger, but they're not that far apart in age, though.
Well, she's good.
Well,
yeah, she's great.
She's the most memorable, probably because she has the most scenes.
I see why they recasted it. My bad. I feel bad now.
Well, actually, to bring something up like that in the Mortal Kombat video where I made the remark about Jax not being in the Jax from the first movie, not being in the second movie, apparently he ended up dying before.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. So, sorry, Jax. But,
Oh, man. All right, so here we go into the spoiler territory. So I'm just giving you a little pause here so you can stop the video. These are the spoilers.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have any that I'm burning to talk about, so what do you guys
I got a big one.
Yeah.
Paulie's robot is not in this movie.
Yeah, what happened to the robot?
I wish that robot was in it.
Yeah.
I actually did a lot of research on the robot because now the robot's such like a stupid meme. And it's in Family Guy and stuff. So the robot's name was Sicko, I think, and it's the only non-human or the first non-human in the American Screen Actors Guild because the robot used to go on tour with James Brown. So its team is considered in the Screen Actors Guild.
I know the robot originated. It was something to treat kids with autism.
Yeah,
it was to help them communicate and stuff. So it came from a good place.
There was a creator. The creator of it pretty much was like, oh, kids with autism like they respond better to robots because everyone likes robots.
I still don't understand why is there a Rocky in why is there a robot in Rocky?
So I have no idea why.
I guess Rocky's just so rich. He's like, here, fuck it, I'm gonna buy a robot.
First off, you can buy this robot now. You can build it. They'll send it to your house for $375,000 today.
Yeah.
You can buy it, and they'll send it.
So
to you.
it could be done.
Shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
$375,000.
Yeah.
Because the only thing I wondered, this was in 85. I'm like, why doesn't everybody
with
have
inflation? Like, how much was that robot back then?
Oh, probably like $1 million, but or $500,000. But you can buy it now. There's a website. We can put the link in the description.
I think it's remote controlled. I don't think it's actually programmed like it is in the movie.
The creator who made it's his voice in Rocky 4. And the reason why Stallone liked it is Stallone's youngest son has autism, and he was watching Dateline or something on TV, and they had the robot, and they're explaining why the robot's useful for that. And he's like, oh, let me bring it in for my child. And he did, and his kid loved it. He's like, yo, I'm going to put that thing in Rocky 4.
Like, hey, I'm gonna make you a
and
star,
then
robot.
in Rocky 4, the robot's hanging out with his oldest son, who plays his son Robert in the film, I believe.
Okay.
So there you go. Sicko the robot is not in the film.
I know you're all really bummed out.
You know how they fixed that? just do one scene where they go into the back of the Adrian bar and it's like doing dishes.
Man, yeah,
like after like because these movies are really gritty. Rocky just goes into the kitchen and it's just like cleaning the dishes.
The last time you saw the robot it was with Paulie, and Paulie was now in love with it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I named, she's my girlfriend now and stuff. And I was hoping, I wanted a scene where the robot was crying over Paulie's face.
Maybe he's buried with the robot.
That's how you think about
true,
that.
Yeah.
I wanted to come back to life and like burst through the bottom. Like,
I guess spoilers for me. There's 2 fights in this movie. Both, I mean, Drago technically loses the first fight by disqualification.
yeah.
But he doesn't like lose.
But he beats the shit out of Creed, which was crazy.
It was that was kind of predictable because when I looked at my. I sometimes use a stopwatch because I'm just curious like where the plot points hit, and it was at 45 minutes.
Yeah,
they're already in the first fight. I'm like, ooh,
I'm
worried.
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought he was dead.
I was like, you know what? I thought of every possible outcome, and the one that I thought about, I'm like, there's no way, there's no fuck, and it didn't happen.
Okay,
that. Creed was going to die again, and then Rocky was going to have to get in shape again and take them both on. He was going to take. He's like, I'm going to take you and your son on right now
at the same time.
I guess Rocky IV was very political, and I definitely appreciate how now like Drago and his son have been kicked out of Russia because he failed to beat Rocky. Even though if Rocky's great speech at the end of 4, like the premier and all those guys kicked him out of Russia, and he's living in the Ukraine, former Soviet Republic, and he's trying to like get strong again and stuff like that. And I felt, and then when Russia finally takes him back in for winning, they're fine with the cheap shots and all that stuff, which I thought was very cool.
The one complaint I have with the movie, and it's good that it's here in a spoiler area, is that they didn't really address Creed's death in the way I would think. I mean, it was kind of nice that Rocky took the upper road with it, but the whole time when Drago's talking to him and saying like, oh, I lost my wife and this, it's like, who the fuck cares what you lost? You fucking piece of shit. You murdered his friend, and
you didn't have to murder him.
Yeah, like I wish that at least there was.
In Rocky IV, you find out that they're doping him. They're giving him they're running him, and he's running on the treadmill, and the scientist looks over to the guy and he's like, "Should we stop?" And they're like, "No, keep going. Fuck Drago." Like whatever. Like he's kind of like a guinea pig. You kind of have to feel bad for him a little bit. Like he killed Creed on purpose, but it was during the match. It wasn't like they were like hanging out at a bar. You know?
But still, he never had any sympathy for it in all these years. I just thought in 3 decades. Or however much time has passed, it's like, wouldn't he have at least kind of thought about it and been like, you know what, I really feel bad that I killed your friend.
I think,
but they didn't the only moment when it kind of comes in at the end, and they don't speak a single line of it, but I think it kind of does come out a little. Is that when he sees his son getting the shit beaten out of him, and he throws the towel, and I think he might finally start to realize, I think I might see now what he went through.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have just seen one line or something, or even just a look after the fight.
I'm sorry about your dad.
Yeah, and they didn't go there. It kind of just moved on.
I thought I thought Victor at one point was going to throw the fight because he saw that he's beating the shit out of Creed, who's basically dying, and I thought his mom leaves, I thought he was gonna throw the fight just to prove a point to his dad that mom's not coming back, Dad.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was gonna knock out his father on the side there, or if he was gonna get he's all stumbly, and Creed had the opportunity to kill him. To kill Victor Drago, and but then decides to back up and then looks over to Ivan who's throwing the towel, and he throws in the towel.
I liked that much better that Ivan Drago came and threw the towel. He finally saw.
Yeah, we're very nitpicky right now, but
that's the thing. What I was going to say earlier too is the same thing. Is I feel like that was kind of him put in the same position. But he did what Rocky didn't do, where Rocky didn't throw in the towel for Creed, and Creed died, and Ivan sees what's happening, and he's like, "My God, my son could die," and that's why he did it. Where Rocky's someone who I guess appreciates the fight and will let Creed do what he wants. But
I had a friend who swore to me that he thought at the end of Rocky IV that Drago dies, and I'm like, wait. How does that happen? He goes, no, look, because the moment when he falls and he gets up and then he falls back down again, I'm like, and then I watched the movie again, and then when Rocky says oh, for him to stand in the ring with me, it's earlier when he's talking to Adrian. He goes like, for him to stay in the ring with me, he's got to be willing to die himself. And I honestly never understood the line because Stallone really mumbles it.
Yeah.
But after like seeing it one time with the subtitles, I'm like, oh wait, maybe. And then I watched the end, and you clearly see him standing there when he's giving his, like, you know, you can change speech. Drago's still there. It's total bullshit, but I had a friend who really, like, egged
Thought
me
he was
on
dead.
So I guess for the whoever's watching this freaking video, like search on Google, search like what does the translator say at the end of Rocky 4? Remember, like Rocky's like, oh, we can be friends, and the guy's like, discuss, because like he's like he's like Russian, he's doing the Russian translation. Someone who's Russian wrote down what he actually says, and it makes no sense.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I realized Rocky says like, oh, he talks for like a minute, and this guy says like 3 words. I'm like, wait a minute.
Okay.
So if you take...
Were they trying to just make it short?
Maybe the guy didn't know what the fuck Stallone said. Maybe he was like,
yeah, that's probably likely.
Yeah,
because Stallone's always like,
It's just the guy going, I have no idea what he's saying.
yeah.
I don't know.
Just look it up, because it's pretty funny. It's a good anecdote for you.
I got jealous when Creed won by disqualification, because in high school I used to be a wrestler, and I lost all 8 of the matches I ever had. I would have loved to have just won by forfeit or disqualification once, just to say I won one goddamn thing. But and it's even worse now because I'm actually a record holder, or I was at one point, for the shortest Catholic League match. I lost in 31 seconds. So just one win would have made it all worth it. It's like, hey, you didn't win, but also you lost worse than anyone else has ever lost.
Wow.
I guess to go back to like Rocky in general, Rocky means a lot to me just from being from Philly and stuff. My dad really likes it, and my dad boxed for a little bit. Like I actually have a poster upstairs. I'll like scan it. You can put it in there. That's where my dad's nickname Rockin' Rob Silverman comes from. Actually, I want to put that in there. But my dad used to be a limo driver in the '80s, and he was driving through Philly when they were filming Rocky 3, and he almost ran down Stallone on Broad Street. And Stallone hopped on the car like, whoa, and like banged on the hood and stuff.
Oh, jeez.
And my dad's like, oh shit, was that Stallone? And then like kept driving, and I'm just like, that would have been bad if you killed Rocky, if you killed Stallone during Rocky 3.
We might not be sitting here talking about this movie right
changed the whole passage of time.
I remember he told me that. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Another thing?
I once almost had the reverse, where like his limo actually came to me because
Stallone was killing you.
well, I mean, it wasn't that close at all, but I was ironically, I was running to the Art Museum steps at the time because I was late and I was trying to get to the 30th anniversary of Rocky, because he was actually going to appear at the steps. So I knew that he was going to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm running to get there, and as I'm running, like I'm crossing the street, like I really shouldn't have, crossed at that time. And I'm like, oh, here's this limo. Fuck it, I'm going from it. As soon as I did, I'm like, wait a minute, was that him? And then I watched the limo as I'm running. I watched it go right toward the steps. And then just a crowd of people come around. I'm like, yep, that was him.
You should have jumped on the hood.
He's like, hey, I'm gonna pay you for it. I'm gonna hit a guy.
Yeah, that'd be great if the car hits you and he comes out and says, hey, kid, you gotta get up. You gotta go to my show.
That was when they unveiled the statue at the on the side of the steps.
Yeah.
They brought it back. But
because it was at the top and they moved it. And
it was
before
at the
that,
top.
it was at the Spectrum.
Yeah,
right?
then they moved it to the Spectrum in South Philly.
Okay.
And then they moved it into because they demolished the stadium, and then they went into a warehouse or something for a while. Nobody knew where it was, and then finally they brought it back for the 30th anniversary.
You know what? We should move it to outside the rental review store. Yeah, right. We should send the next video. Just have it. Just have it there. Yeah. In this movie, there's a shot where Ivan and Victor Drago, they pass the statue. I thought they were gonna deface it or do something weird, like to call out the action so everyone would hate them, kind of a thing.
I thought that was amazing, that scene, because I did not expect, because you see in Rocky 4 how Rocky goes to Russia and is like, running up the mountains and everything. He wants to be in a place where the only thing he's going to think about is Drago. And now we got to see the reversal where Drago actually goes onto Rocky's turf. And when he's like looking at the people who are like, taking pictures with the statue.
Yeah, that was actually really cool.
Yeah. As I said, it's kind of like Rocky 4 twice with a little Rocky 3.
Yeah.
And you even have the scene at the end where instead of going to the snowy mountains, they go to the dusty desert to train, but for no reason. Because they're like, oh, we're going somewhere. And I think, oh, they're going to go to Russia and train again.
That's what I thought.
But they go to the desert, and then the next frame, they're in Moscow. And I'm like, Wait, what?
Yeah.
You know, it'd be the ultimate thing because everybody runs up the steps to take a picture.
Yeah.
To run up which is in Wyoming, actually, the mountain in Rocky IV where he runs up is in Wyoming, not Russia. But I always felt like the point of that scene was to show, like, okay, well, he's run up these steps before. Now he's going to run up this entire mountain.
Yeah.
Imagine getting to the top of that mountain, getting a picture. That would be the ultimate.
Oh, so
that would be dedication.
You have to scream Drago though when you're at the top of it.
Yeah, of course, you have to.
So you're saying all the fans that run down the Italian market and they jump over the park bench. They go up to the fucking art museum steps. They're pussies. You gotta climb that fucking mountain.
First of all, I don't know the exact peak. I don't know where exactly it is. First of all, to locate it and then to actually get up there without killing yourself. Because I assume it's got to be pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
That would be some dedication, but. Man, I'd love to do it.
Well, in Rocky IV, like, he's running from the car of, like, the spy guys who are, like, watching him, and he gets away. Imagine when, like, Stalin or whatever is like, hey, where are those guys? Like where did...
It wasn't Stalin.
Yeah, I think Stalin has been dead for many years.
All right, when fucking
It's like Gorbachev, right? or Yeltsin.
When Premier Boris Yeltsin
or it was Gorbachev, because
he
came and congratulates Zangief at the end of Street Fighter 2.
That's your...
And they dance with it. They dance the Koscheck dance.
That's your understanding of history?
Yeah, well, that's how I know it was Gorbachev.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, so he tells the guys, hey, where did Rocky go? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, oh, well, he's on top of that fucking dangerous mountain. I don't know.
I assume you were joking about the Stalin thing, so I didn't think that was like. I think you could have got away with it just being a joke.
Wasn't it Khrushchev or was it?
No, Khrushchev was like
it was Gorbachev.
Like early 70s.
I want to say, I saw this movie today. In the back of my mind, the last fight I watched was McGregor versus Khabib, where at the very end, Khabib won. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I'm sorry. And the audience hated him. They hated him so they started booing and stuff, and he jumped the fence, went in the crowd, and just started beating the shit out of everyone in the crowd. Him and McGregor got suspended. I wanted something like that in this movie. At the very end, they're like, "Oh,
that's something you would expect would happen in a movie, not real life."
Yeah, but in the movies, it's actually more simple because they're like, "Oh, the Russians are cheering for the American who won." I'm like, nah, I want Creed to just go in the crowd and just start punching people.
Yeah. If only real life could be that civil.
Yeah, but definitely look up that fight. If you're not, I'm not a big UFC guy. I just went to the party. I was expecting a regular fight, and that was the best part. Is when that guy just jumped
it was
the
actually
fence.
that whole night was a really good night of fights.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was insane.
I guess Creed 3 predictions.
I don't know. I just want to be surprised again. Every one of these movies is a surprise. I never expect I'm going to get another. I remember when Rocky IV was the newest one, and that being who is he going to fight? Who's stronger than Ivan Drago?
Yeah.
Tommy Gunn.
And then 5 was okay, he's going to be the trainer this time. It's okay, well that's different. And then how that movie ends, where he takes his son up the art museum steps.
Yeah.
You say what you will about the movie, the ending was great, and it leaves you on a high note. And I thought that was going to be the last one. And then, after all these years, Rocky VI comes along, Balboa. And then we have Creed, the real passing of the torch movie. Now we got Creed 2. I'm open. I'm totally open.
I think in Creed 3, Rocky 9, Rocky should die. And he either has to do the Olympics thing or do MMA or something like that.
Olympics would be good. Olympics would really up the ante there.
And maybe really Drago's in the Olympics too for Russia.
First of all, he was supposed to die in Rocky V, actually, in the original Avildsen version. And then Rocky Balboa, I kind of thought, oh, maybe he might die in this one. Creed, he's dealing with cancer. And it seemed okay, well, this time he's really going to die because he's already done everything he wants to do with the franchise. He's going to pass the torch, and he's still going.
Yeah,
so I think I disagree. I don't want to see him die. I just want to see him always there as a...
I don't know if I want to say... I think where they're building to in this is that he's going to leave the boxing behind and finally focus on his family, which has been his problem throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if he just goes away to be with his family, much like Paul Walker in Fast and the Furious. They just had him go away to be with his family. I'm fine with that. He doesn't really need to die.
His character needs something to do, whether it's go with family or die, because Mickey's death in 3 was very empowering, and it brought Creed
you
and
lose,
Apollo and Rocky together.
Yeah, you lose Mickey, then you lose Creed, Apollo Creed, then you lose Adrian, and then you lose Paulie. So as much as I don't want to see him go, I do understand what you're saying.
And that's sad because you're gonna see it's gonna happen in Creed 3 or Creed 4 or something. You're gonna see Rocky's grave next to Adrian's grave, and Creed's gonna go there like, oh, Rocky was my man, and this is his wife Adrian, and no one's gonna give a shit about Paulie.
Yeah, and I never met the other guy,
and that can't stand. Wow. Who's gonna bring him his liquor?
Yeah, have you been to that cemetery? Because there's not really a lot of room in that plot, so I wonder how they're gonna do they have the Paulie grave there still?
Yeah,
because
he's still in this one. He's still putting alcohol on.
It was in the side shot.
Oh, okay, I'm in real life.
They have that graveyard. No.
Yeah, because they have the Adrian gravestone out front, or at least last time I was there. Because it's a prop, obviously it's not a real gravestone, but there's got to be somebody there eventually. Yeah. I guess they just found an empty spot, and but now they have Adrian, they have Paulie. Huh. So I don't know. I'm thinking too much.
That's an idea. We should reserve that spot for one of us. Oh shit! First to go gets the spot.
I guess my prediction. My prediction
the tree isn't there anymore, by the way.
Yeah, I noticed the tree was gone. My prediction is there's going to be tension between Bianca and Adonis. As she loses her hearing, she can't do what she loves. Meanwhile, he's still boxing. I think that's going to be a problem. I think they should steer clear. They don't need to bring anyone else back from the old...
No Mr. T?
We don't need Mr. T. There's no tension there. And Mr. T's not that great of that. He's great as that character, but I can't see him being in this kind of, gritty, more gritty.
No Tommy Gunn. No.
Yeah, no Tommy Gunn. No Mason
Tommy
Dixon.
Morrison's dead, though, so...
Well, that's easy, then. But yeah, I don't know. I just want to see him just fight someone else. He's got to learn a lesson. That's why I want Rocky 3 as one of my favorite, because Rocky gets a little too proud. That's why
I thought an Olympics one would be good, because then you're giving Drago back as being Russia's new guy.
Yeah, Olympics would be pretty good. Yeah.
I think his daughter is going to come back from the future after Paulie's robot becomes self-aware and nukes the world.
Like Terminator?
And she has to go back because there's another Paulie's robot that they sent back to kill Creed to kill her before she was born or whatever.
You're starting to sound like Ivan Drago, Justice Enforcer.
Yeah,
like that.
That's a great game. I was wondering if Creed's daughter is going to have the same thing Rocky's son did, where he aged several years in a week between Rocky 4 and Rocky 5.
It has a weird earring.
It has a weird earring. Rocky 4, he's 8 years old. Rocky comes back from Russia, he's 15. He's huge.
Yeah, that's the most drastic change.
Yeah, that's the biggest change.
He's also the oh god, I can't pronounce his name. Milo Ventimiglia or whatever his name is. Milo Ventimiglia. Well, the newest guy.
Yeah,
he's the first of Rocky's sons, I think, to actually replay him.
Yeah, because he was from Rocky Balboa. Yeah, and he's fine. Yeah. That's all I got.
I guess the only thing I want to throw in is shout out to my friend Lewis, who was in the Barclay Center when they filmed the fights between Creed and Ivan Drago the first time. He's in somewhere. I didn't see it but he said he's in a shot. But it was so many quick shots of so many people. I didn't get to see it. But if I see it again,
also shout out to James Royale, who played the mayor in Mummy Cop, my show. He was in the bar at the one scene.
Yeah, you were saying
he showed up. I'm like, that's James Royale. I started screaming.
Looks like I was wrong. Dead wrong.
Mummy Cop!
He's a great actor. Best local actor in Philly.
Yeah, so I think this franchise is still going strong.
Hey, came down here! Oh, shit!
Thank you for checking out Cinemassacre Rental Reviews. Take a look at our other videos, and if you want to get some sweet Cinemassacre merchandise, head on over to store.screenwavemedia.com.